Good morning.
Morning, Roger. How you doing, sir?
Doing good, and yourself?
Doing fantastic.
Excellent.
Right.
So how bad was it?
I haven't looked at it. We're about to look at it together.
Excellent.
Even better, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, pull you over here. All right. So this is the syndicated deal analyzer. Letting it load up. I'm gonna open a hard copy as well. All right. So this is a 10 unit in your backyard, right?
Correct.
They want 1.7, super pricey. Especially for Greensboro. When you tell me to do something, you tell me why. No problem for your guidance. See, tell me what I need to improve on. Work on that. All right. So we're looking at a purchase price 1.7 million. All so half of them are renovated, and the renovated ones are getting about 1106 on average. The classic ones, are they not rented out currently?
They're not. They only have half of the units rented.
Huh. Okay.
We've got 5 units that are empty right now.
5 units that are empty. Interesting. You can get them all at about 1225 on pro forma. Okay. So here, where's this coming from? Did you write this number in? You wrote this number in here. 5477. Which 5529. No. Close window cigar. All right. So let's do this. Let me open a new spreadsheet. Ten unit Greensboro, Roger. And since I'm recording this, I'm gonna fly through pretty quick, but you can always go back and review it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So address is right here.
And do you mind if I ask some questions as we go through?
Oh, absolutely. So I'm pulling up the location here on Justice Map. I also want to see it in Google Maps because there's no pin. Greensboro, good population. Poverty rate's a little bit high. This is nice. This is good. Good. I like it.
So let me ask you if you would go back to the the data.
Yep.
All right. So on the left-hand side, below population, you've got 294, and then below that says what?
Poverty rate.
Now, right below that, the what? 106
Oh
or
yeah,
is that like
1.06% 1 year growth. So
so? When you're
uh
looking at that, are you ever looking at any kind of growth, or are you just looking at that population number?
both. I want to see population number decently high, over 100,000, 75, on the low end, and then I want to see growth. And another way to do it is Greensboro population. Just Google like that, and it shows you trends. So North Carolina, you see, that's why it's been getting so expensive. Why people are flocking there, like, dang, it's been growing like crazy compared to Greensboro and Winston-Salem. So that's why Raleigh has been just one of the most hot markets in North Carolina. Super expensive, and it's supply and demand. Like I always tell you guys, when people are flocking to a place, like the jobs that are created out there, especially if they're good paying jobs, like tech jobs or something like that, then the people are going to be making the money. They're going to be driving rents up all over the place, so they'd be close to their workplace. That's multifamily in you find a city where you find a population trend that looks like this and it's getting over 50,000 people. I mean, you start buying up everything in that place, and then you sit on it. But 5, 10 years later, you're gonna be ridiculously wealthy, right? I think Northwest Arkansas was one of the most recent markets. There was that one place that you were talking about in North Carolina. It's kind of up and coming.
Mebane, Hillsboro, Cary, Burlington. I think we
Burlington,
were
that was
talking
the
about
name.
Burlington.
Burlington, yeah. So Burlington, South Carolina or North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Oh yeah, look at that uptrend. That's big growth, right? And if I look at that in datausa.io as a place.
What is that top one, that M something? Do you know what that is? The first selection it gave you?
Oh, MSA?
Yeah. What is
That's
that?
a metropolitan statistical area. So that's Burlington as a whole, plus some of the outer skirt areas as well. I don't want all that. All I want is the actual place. So yeah, look at 2.77. That's almost 3 times the growth of Greensboro, right? And income's decent, property values are low for now, but when people start coming in, these numbers will start jumping up, right? This stuff will start coming down. So shoot, bro, start looking over here. We might
I
have a little honeypot over there.
and there is. I've got some leads. I need to start tapping in those leads on Burlington. It's just such a small market that, it's just oversaturated, and yeah, there's apartment complexes in there, but I'm kind of shooting for these larger cities because, the way I'm thinking is there's going to be more apartment complexes over in that area. What is your feedback on that?
There's opportunity everywhere. You're gonna have to dig so much. In a city like Burlington, I think you have more of an opportunity to create relationships with actual sellers on the small to medium-sized deals. And that would give you a good amount of attraction. So if you can get direct to seller, which is what your job is, right? How do you normally do that? You just contact the sellers directly, or how do
Yeah,
you, how
so
do you
I will buy a batch of leads that are apartment complex owners, and I'll just manually go through all the numbers, and just my pitch is, hey, this is Roger Abbott. I'm a commercial broker. I have some buyers looking in the Greensboro area. Have you ever considered selling your apartment complex?
simple
And
as that?
yeah, it's just real simple. And the majority, of course, say no, but every now and then I'll have somebody, well, for the right price, and then you get into that conversation and start making that connection with them.
Absolutely, and that's what I want to I'll use this later on after you're done putting your offer in and seeing if you can tie this thing up for sure. But I want people who are eventually watch the replay on this to understand that everything in multifamily is a numbers game. If you're going to go through a broker, you just have to go through a whole bunch of brokers who are doing the same thing, going through a whole bunch of owners to find that one deal that they can get the listing for. Once they get the listing, then there's a whole bunch of buyers that have to come through, right? There might be the right buyer, right place. This deal right here, right? It's expensive because these guys they live in LA. They can't imagine selling a property for less than $100,000, which this one definitely should be $100,000 a door. But it is what it is, and if depending on how motivated they are, because I mean it's 50% occupied, right? So, do you know how much they bought it for?
Yeah, it's actually 400, and let me look. Well, I'd have to go back to my email, but yeah, it's like less than 500,000. They bought
Oh,
it
right
in
here. Yeah,
2019.
465 in 2019. Hey, look, you guys, you're not going to make triple your money on this thing. Sorry to tell you that, but right, this thing is sucking wind for you. I know it's just a thorn in your side. It's a small deal. You don't need anything big out of it. You can do like a seller financing option or something like that. Oh, and these are guys you found from calling off a list as well. Where do you buy your lists from? Like list
So there's
source?
a no, there's a company called realsupermarket.com, and they approached me through Facebook, and they had really reasonable rates for example, I just bought 1,500 apartment complexes for $200.
Oh man.
And they ask you what you want. I mean, I told them everything has to be 1985 or newer. It has to be 50 doors or more. They have to own the property for 20 years, and they just send me these huge lists, and then I just manually start calling through them.
your next level up would be to hire a VA and have them call 24/7 just to generate leads.
I would love that, bro. I don't think I'm there yet, but I would love for somebody else to hammer these phones as much as I do.
Exactly, because they can burn through calling, and you just give them a simple script. Hey, I'm representing Roger Abbott of Keller Williams, one of the most prestigious real estate brokerages in the entire United States. He has a lot of buyers who want the same thing, same conversation. You're just outsourcing it to somebody else because your money is going to be made on buying the property or at least getting the listing to sell, right? So you automate that process of, I know it feels like, oh man, I'm early on, I got to do the grunt work to go ahead and get through all this other stuff. But if you can start getting, how often do you get a listing?
Commercial, residential.
Either one.
I would say every 90 days, probably.
Every 90 days. How many? So you're calling how many leads a day? 50?
Yeah.
So you're calling through 50 leads a day. And if you were able to duplicate those efforts, because these guys will call like 8 hours straight. That's their job.
Bro, I'm all for it, man. I've been looking at it and trying to justify getting a VA because I would love for somebody else to do all the grunt work and then me just set up the appointments and connect with the sellers. But of course, where I'm at, like you just said, I feel like I should be doing the grunt work, but I'm all for additional help.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you know, you have to go through X number of leads to find um I don't know. How many leads do you go through before you find an interested owner?
Oh, unfortunately, I don't track that closely. I would say probably go through 500 phone calls before I find somebody that says yes, that I would consider.
Perfect. So you bought 2,000 leads, right? Um, Conversion is going to be 500 equals 1 divided by 500, right? So 0.2%. So 0.2%. So leads, interested sellers. You'll find 4, right? Um, of the sellers that you get, how many, let's just say after this batch of leads, you'll get 4 guys. How many of them will likely close with you? Half of them, right?
Yeah.
What's the how much would you say average listing size would be?
500,000.
3% to you?
Yeah. Usually around 15 grand on that dollar amount.
Two sales, average listing size, commission 3%.
You taking an Excel course, how to operate Excel?
No,
You just
that's my
listen to a
job,
lot.
right?
People say,
And so
take an Excel course so you get good at it.
it would definitely help for sure. I'm a big proponent of it, right? So these 200 leads cost you $200, or you bought 2,500 leads,
It was 1,500 leads for 200 bucks.
1,500 leads, right? So costs $200, right? So you spend $200 to make 22.5. You're calling on, you have 1,500 leads. How long? You said about 90 days for this whole process,
Yeah.
right? All right. You're making $250 per day just by doing this. And if you have um, the VA is going to be calling maybe $5, call it $4 an hour, right? Times 8 times 5 equals this one times 52 weeks divided by 12 months. So $693 a month, right? Just removing you. Oops, my goodness. Cut, paste. Thank you.
And the VAs that you use, are they over in the Philippines or are they elsewhere?
Yeah,
And I guess they adjust their times to the timelines in the United States.
they do.
So they're probably working during the night.
So it's going to cost you $2,880 to have somebody working for you full time 3 months so that you can generate 22,500, right? So let's say cost purchase equals 200, 1,500. What would be the conversion? 1,500 per lead to be 200 divided by equals 200 divided by 1,500, right? Let's just assume that's the rate. So how do I tie this one in here? 13 cents per lead. Leads. Okay. Equals 200 divided by 1,500 times this. Boom. Okay. Wrong. $200. Oh, I did have it backwards. 1,500 divided by. There we go. And this is just going to be a number. Going a little bit off the beaten path here. So, all that being said, I want to go ahead and I'll send this over to you as well. So you change this number depending on how much money you want to spend on leads, right? So you spend $500 on leads, you'll get this. You get this many. You got these people calling on all these leads because you need to be able to give them enough leads to be able to call on, right?
Yeah, I was thinking about that too.
And this is basically what the scaled up version of your business will look like, right? It's obviously you start doing more commercial, then you're going to get higher average listing prices. So these are all the things you can change. Your conversion of leads. I think your conversion rate's a little bit low from the leads that you're getting, 0.2%, when it should be like 2%, right? So let's just say you stuck at $200, you got 1,500 leads, and you increase your conversion to like 1%. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, those numbers jump big time.
Yeah. But 0.2% is it's a starting point because you at least know your numbers, and this is what if you're consistent. This is what happens if you do the job just by yourself. But then now you insert somebody else, and now let's just say you spend $200 on leads for yourself. You spend $200 on the leads for somebody else, right? To call on your behalf so that they can set appointments for you to meet with sellers and talk with sellers. And by the way, when you're out talking and meeting, these guys are still going to be calling, setting appointments for you, filling up your calendar. So because the times that you're out having lunches, walking properties, gathering data, doing all that stuff, you're not calling, right? This is you being optimally efficient, for 90 days straight. So that's just how this looks from a mathematical standpoint, and just showing you like, hey, you'll spend $2,880, but you're gonna make 22.5. That's if you can train them to do what you do, because it's a very repeatable process. Just calling, like real estate, I think to me is, it's not even really sales, right? Because everybody wants to make money in real estate. It's the same thing for everybody.
It's definitely something that everybody will use sometime in their life, and they have a need for it sometime in their life.
Exactly. So this is just food for thought for you. I'll rename this Rogers VA system, right? So you can, yeah, all you got to do is figure out, here, I'll put a comment so you know. Use leads. There you go. Oh, there you go. All right. And everything else should be fine. All right. I gotta fly through this because I gotta take my car in at 12. But let's take a look at what this place looks like. So it's located here, Greensboro, right off of 40 and Holden Road. So here's 40. Fairview Homes. Fairview Homes. So right around,
Holden right there. Yeah, you're right by. Go to the right. There's Holden right there.
yeah,
So yeah, you're right at that, right in there. That Boulevard Street. You had it.
yep, right here.
Yep.
That's where it's at. So now if you look at income, woo,
Yeah, I didn't like
dismal.
that either when I saw it.
26.7, right? So when I see stuff like this, it just tells me, give me the address. I probably want to do Section 8 on it. How far away from this property do you live?
I'm probably 15 minutes away from the property.
Okay, it's in your backyard, right?
Yeah, it is. It's close proximity.
Yeah, and it's not, it's just poor. It doesn't look like it's a couple burglaries here, some arrests, whatever. And it's in and around, like outside of this other side of the highway, south of Westgate City Boulevard, is like, it seems like Fairview Homes area, not so bad, but around it is, more troublesome. So you're on the right side of Holden, you're on the right side of Fordham, you're on the right side of Westgate City Boulevard. So you're a little bit insulated there. It's just poor. I'd figure out how I can get some Section 8 vouchers on there. Are the current tenants on Section 8?
He did say there were some Section 8 tenants in there.
Yeah, right. So boom, you might not be able to get this much. Did you get that from Rent-A-Meter?
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe you can get it, maybe not, but we'll see what that looks like. Yeah, we're gonna 10 unit Greensboro. So 1.7. I'm gonna do 35% down. Repairs and reserves, $50,000. You're gonna do for upgrading your units. These are all 2 bedrooms, 10 units. Current rents are 1106. And let me see. Did you send me a rent roll?
Yes, they are not very big, but there's an expense sheet and a rent roll sheet.
All right, let me see. Okay. Not too late. Are these individual houses?
No, they're not.
Okay.
They're all connected.
Okay.
Garden apartment. That's the way they stated in the tax records.
Mm-hmm. What is this? 97.2 divided by 10, 80. 9%. Okay. So let's just say the highest renting one is 1215. So you make 109 after you do your renovations to all these units, right? So I know these numbers are blue, but you don't have to do anything.
You don't do anything on those?
Yeah, at least I don't think so. I have to go back and check, but I created formulas to just pull the information from the right spot. Um, and this would be my, and for me personally, I don't use the marketing package column. This is my T12 column, and this is my version, which is fine.
You want me to start doing it that way, or you want me to do it the way the instructions say to do it?
Yeah, follow the instructions. I'm just letting you know for when you go over this, you'll see. You'll see how I do this. The expenses are non-existent, so I guess the tenants pay for their own utilities and everything.
Yes, they do.
That's pretty awesome.
And that's water, electric, and gas.
Okay, so the taxes on this property, is there a pro forma or anything from the broker at all?
No, no broker. This is just the end seller that I'm
That's all.
communicating with.
All right. Do you know how much they pay in taxes?
Let's see if I wrote that down.
I see the assessed value is 501.
That's the information I had. I don't have anything besides that.
Okay, no worries. So it's 50% occupied right now. How do you calculate taxes in Greensboro?
What's that?
How do you calculate taxes in Greensboro? Do you know the millage rate?
I do not.
All right. What county is it in?
It's Guilford County. GUI. It's GUIL. There you go. It's 1835.
Okay. Income value. So taxable value is 501. Tax bill. Okay. $1835. 2019 for 465. All right. Revenue stamps 930. Hmm. I wish it would show me the tax bills.
Can't go into those blue areas and click and give you additional information.
Ah, here we go. So this
The rate right there in the center of the page.
Mm-hmm.
What 0.7305? Is that what you're looking for?
There we go. Yeah, Guilford and Greensboro. All right. And the assessed value,
501, 501, 150.
so they assess they assess it like all the way. Okay, interesting.
Can I ask you another question right quick
Sure.
about where, um, if you go down about in the middle of the page, it says income, where those little go up a little bit. Those that line of it says parcel buildings, miscellaneous improvements in the blue. It's got the blocks around it. Go up, yeah, right there. Income. Click in there.
Okay.
Would you use any of this information for any reason?
Mm, yeah, it's pulling the average of the rents in the area to value the property. So if it's saying each unit can bring in about $7,800 per year, or annual unit income, yeah. Each unit can be 7,800 a year, which is 650 in rents, right? So yeah, you can get over pretty good based on the income. So it seems like they're going to value this property based on the income.
Just an average in the area, correct? Is that where these numbers come from? Do you know?
They probably take a survey of the county. That's not where that comes from. So 501,149.74 times 0.07393 divided by 10. 3,705. Is that how much they paid? 68. Discount $11. Okay. These are quarterly amounts. All right. Not so bad. So we know their tax bill is 6830. That's fine. 6830. They're paying 9% on their revenue for the property management company. They didn't list any other expenses really, so can't go by too much what they have. So for us, our purposes, we're gonna assume that within a year we can go ahead and get a lot of this fixed up. But let's just say it's gonna take a little bit of time. Have you walked these properties?
Yes. I also sent you photos.
Okay. How good a shape are they in?
It needs everything. I mean, it needs a roof, it needs siding, windows, decks. It really air conditioning units. It needs everything.
Okay, so we're looking at probably $12,000 a door.
Yeah. I was talking to a handyman. It was kind of interesting. A handyman that's been working on this property for about 3 or 4 years. I was walking with him, and he was just like, he was telling me everything. He was an open book. He's like, "Hey, all the air conditioners need to be replaced. You know, this water leak happened at this time. This is what happened." He gave me all the information.
Okay.
So he and I were talking, and I said, "Let me ask you." They were rehabbing some of the units. I said, "Right now, the owners, what are they paying per unit?" He goes, "They're paying $5,000 per unit for me to rehab." I said, "That seems low." He goes, "I told them 10." He said, "But they talked me down to 5." And then I'm glad you're saying 12, because I'm thinking it's going to be more than 10 to rehab each unit, because you're going to have HVACs with these too.
Yeah.
HVAC and roof and
I figured
siding.
much.
Uh, Parking lot's trash. I mean, it needs everything.
Okay. So this thing costs 23,000. Insurance. You have to get a quote from JT, but let's use a rule of thumb. Is it actually Greensboro's more inland. Let's go $500 per door. So that's 5 grand. Contract services, we'll use a rule of thumb, 200. We'll call it 250. Trash, electric, gas, water is all on them. Legal, sir, 1,500, 1,400 a year. Repairs and maintenance equals 0.1 times that. General admin, you're not gonna have any, no payroll, no others, and then it's be 250 a door. All right, that gets you to a 50% expense ratio. Interest rate's probably gonna be about 7.5 because older property, not older, but just bad shape. You can do 25-year amortization just to play devil's advocate. Okay. So cap rate is definitely not going to be 4. What would you say area cap rates are in Greensboro?
Anywhere between 5 to 6.
Really? All right. Call it 6.5 exit cap. This deal you need 811,000 if we were going to go 1.7, which we're probably not. So let's just say we do get to raise some money from investors. Acquisition fees definitely be 3%. Earnest money is fine. This is okay. P&L. It's okay. Exit strategies. Probably refi out into fixed rate debt, which maybe we'll just assume you might be able to do like seller financing and then just pay them out on the back end once the value is high enough. Or we're looking at after it's fixed up, it'd be call it year 2 just to get better valuation. So you might get about $1.1 million all said and done. CapEx of $120,000. So, yep, right here, 6% cap rate, 50% expense rate. It's gonna be 50. Yeah, 553. They may not go for some of these low balls, but I would say maybe if you're going to buy it for like 700K. 700K means you can come out of pocket at 405, and that's a solid deal. Because it just is what it is, man. These guys are collecting 66,000. So if I go into my summary tab, look at scenario 1. I mean, this deal is super trash. Like like as it is in scenario 1, you're buying this thing at like kind of cap rate. You're buying it at 3% cap rate, 3.15. Assuming they're not spending anything on anything, right?
No, that's not true because, of course, they're going to have trash removal
Okay.
and, of course, insurance. Don't necessarily know they'd be having repairs and maintenance because they're just not doing much work on this place. I mean, this guy's basically going around, putting band-aids on things to keep the place going.
Exactly. So buying it a sub 3 cap at 1.7 million, 700,000, it becomes more like a 6.79 cap, which is kind of in line with what the market is right now. based on how it is, possibly give them a little bit of premium, like said, look, based on the amount of work that it needs, I went through with my general contractor. You had these conversations. I'll jump on the phone and talk to them if you really want to. Um, like, yeah, you guys can keep it. You bought it at a super cheap basis. We can probably get you out at 700K. Um, it'd be great if they financed it.
And they might, I mean,
So
you
look,
never know until you ask.
yeah, and you say, look, I'll do this. They carry the loan on the property, right? And so they'll essentially they become the bank. Let us take over the property at the agreed upon purchase price. And while we're gonna sell it for, we're gonna buy it from you for $700,000, right? We're gonna mortgage the whole entire thing with you guys. We'll put what 10% down, so 70 grand for them, right? You give them $70,000 up front. There's no brokers involved, no all those other guys. And then while we do the area improvements, the renovations, get those other units that are down, up and running, plus, and it's only the other 5 units that need everything, or is it all 10 units?
All 10 units are going to need everything because they may have gone in and did some rehab flooring and paint and redid the kitchens. Some of that might have to be redone because it's really poor and really poor quality craftsmanship.
Okay, that's okay, right? Because ideally, instead of spending 120,000, you can spend 60,000 on the 5 that are down and make those really nice, and then possibly just go in and touch up the other units as people move out, if they move out. But by having the really nice, because like you'd be out 70,000 for the down payment, so 10% interest only on this mortgage. I have 5 years, but that's fine. You pay $40,000 a year if you pay them 7%. Yeah, it's not a finance, so I'm gonna go and try to get it 7%. So 7% interest. My mortgage payment would be 12,000 equals that divided by 12. So why is that so much? Oh, 90%. So I'm financing 630,000. Is that right? 630 times 0.9%. Yeah. Oh. 630,000. If I pay them simple interest of 7%, go by 12, yeah, $3,000 a month. Basically the mortgage on the property. And you're renovating five units. Let's say you do 2 at a time, it takes you 5 months. So you have $18,000 in carrying costs plus the $70,000 in rehab or down payment, plus your renovation budget of $60,000. So all in, you're in for $148,000. You sell it, you're buying it for $700,000, so you still have a balance of 630. And on the back end, when you refi and you pay these guys out, the value on this property, well, let me get the actual value. The value of the property would be 1.28. So negative minus 630,000 that you owe the seller, and then you sell for 1.28537. Oh, if it's a 5 month project, you'll end up making $500,000, and all you had to do was come up with $140,000 cash.
What do you think? Think it's a potential deal?
I did at 700,000. So you had to convince the LA guys to knock $1 million off the hit, but at least you can see how much wiggle room you have for your potential profiteering. So maybe $700,000 just at the start of the conversation. Like, hey, look, guys, this place is completely trashed. Your numbers are crap. I had to go ahead and get quotes. This is how much it's going to cost me for insurance. This is going to cost me for property management. This is how much it's going to cost me for my taxes, everything like that. It is what it is. So, yeah. And right now, the property is only bringing in $47,000 a year. Even if I got traditional debt, I mean, I couldn't even afford no traditional debt. Let's see, we got 30% down. Traditional debt would be $40,000. I'd be cash flowing $7,000 a year from the property as is. Like, you just can't do that. That's at $700,000 purchased, right? So let alone 1.7. You mean you're so upside down at that point? It's like ridiculous.
You suggest me just reach out and talk to this guy or actually submit an LOI?
I would have the conversation first just to let him know where what it's looking like.
Okay.
And be like, look, this is where I'm at. I ran the numbers. I live locally to the place. I have my general contractor come through and needs a ton of work. It's in bad shape, right? I mean, the area is pretty poor, so I'm not even gonna get like the highest rents. I can only hope to get people in at the same rates that you guys are doing, maybe a little bit more, but at the end of the day, this is what it looks like.
Okay. I'll reach out and have a conversation with them, see if they have any wiggle room.
Oh, they've got wiggle room, but I mean, it's just, I don't know. Maybe they were being slick, like, oh, let's just throw $1 million more on it and see who bites.
And, and that's what they're doing. Of course, everybody sees the crazy numbers, and you know how it is. You call somebody and they're like, "Yeah, I'll sell it. And you give me $2 million," and you run through the numbers like it's not even worth $1 million.
Exactly. So how was that? How was that seeing that process? Because I know you went through a little bit of the underwriting before, but you saw how I did it as well.
It's helpful. Of course, you go faster, and it's hard for me to keep up. But I'll watch the video. Yeah, definitely helpful working your way around that calculator because, of course, all I'm doing is just following the instructions as best I can and just putting the data in and turning it over to you. I guess
Exactly.
that's what I'm supposed to be doing.
It's just practice. That's really what it comes down to. More and more practice over and over and over. And when you looked at thousands of deals, you can just fly through stuff like that.
Sure,
Um,
sure.
so I promise it's coming your way. You just gotta stick with it, and you'll get it, man. It's because it's the same thing as the markets change, just a couple of different assumptions, but the process is still the same. Like, all those steps, I've just done it so many times. It's ridiculous.
Sure, sure. Let me ask you, we've got the buying criteria, and I found that in the documents. When I'm reaching out, talking with brokers, and I know the real money is in 50 doors or more. Should I be telling these guys 100 door or more, or just 50 door or more that I'm looking for? Or should I say, I'll start sending me 20 plus doors?
I just showed you how to make $500,000 on 10 units, right? So the big syndications are fun and it's cool and it's easy. It's good to do if you have no intention of doing the work yourself. Like me, I'm hands off. Like, I'm growing this education company. I want to be able to give feedback to the students and meet with people and show them how this stuff works. So I don't have the time to manage the renovations on a 10 unit property or anything like that. Maybe if there was one 10 minutes for me, but I live in Miami. Everything's way too expensive here, so I don't even bother. But in your case, that's what you have to sit down and really think about, right? Because there is a sweet spot between that 20 to 60 unit range where it's too small for the big guys and too big for the small guys, right? Because some people who are doing residential stuff, they'll probably not be opposed to buying a 10 unit, right? But you tell them to go take down a 30 or a 40 unit. I mean, we were just talking about coming up with 120 grand to do, or $160,000 cash out of pocket to do these deals. For something four times as big, you're looking at, close to $1 million. And a lot of these guys without the right connections or infrastructure people or knowledge on how to raise capital to do anything, um, then awesome. Um, I lost my train of thought. Somebody wrote something about an investor. But yeah, when you're in that middle market, then you have a lot more room for opportunity. Personally, I think the way that I just showed you how to do these deals, like a deep value add from a desperate seller who just needs to get rid of it, and they're like, man, you know what? I want to make $1 million on this, but I know that I'm probably not going to. Fine, depending on how distressed they are. It sounds like a very distressed property. People who live on the other side of the country who want nothing to do with Greensboro, North Carolina. You buy it, you make $500,000 to sit on it, make sure that it's just going to be rented up. Definitely call the public housing authorities and see how many Section 8 vouchers they have available. So just say, hey, look, I'm looking at purchasing a property. It's in a relatively low income neighborhood, and I'm an investor. I help revitalize areas, and I want to work with housing authorities to help get these things rented out. You guys have any vouchers? How much are they paying? Find all that stuff out, and then you can update the underwriting. But if you should be able to get like that $1,100, $1,200 amount.
I will do that.
Yeah,
Next time, how much are they paying?
you sound a little muffled.
I said I was just writing some notes down there.
Okay, perfect. And when the recording is done, I'll send you that link too. All right. First, underwriting 10 unit Greensboro. Awesome. Well, that is off in the Ethernet on its way to you. Any last questions?
I think that's it for now. Let me reach back out to this guy and see if they want to play ball or not. See if they'll consider owner financing or see if they'll sell it for 600,000.
All right. Sounds like a plan. Yeah, 700 would be like the seller financing route. Let's say if they wanted all cash and you got new debt on it, like a private equity loan, be like I can do 600,000.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate your time.
Hey, very welcome. We'll talk soon, Roger. I get the call tonight at 5 p.m.
All right, man.
All right, see ya.
Later. Bye.